Okay. Hello, and welcome to our series Up Close With. My name is Mariana Siciliano. I'm an educator in the area of public programs and creative practice at the Met. While the museum is closed, we are bringing our collection and exhibitions to you through a series of up-close talks with museum experts. And we invite you to join us each week as we debut a new video in the series. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce James Doyle, Assistant Curator in the Department of the Arts of Africa, Americas, and Oceania. James curated the exhibition Arte del Mar, Artistic Exchange in the Caribbean, which some of you may have had the opportunity to see since it opened later last year, and it will still be waiting for us to explore when the museum reopens. In the meantime, James, thank you for giving us a walkthrough of the exhibition.
Sure, thank you, Mariana, and thank you all for watching this video today. I'll be talking about Arte del Mar, and we'll be seeing some of the works in the exhibition, and then I'll point you to digital resources at the end so that you can continue the walkthrough and look at some of the works up close and read the publication. So I'll go ahead and start now with the presentation. So the exhibition Arte del Mar has several objectives. So, of course, it's part of the 150th anniversary of the Metropolitan Museum this year, and to do an exciting deep dive, as it were, into the Caribbean Sea and the civilizations that surrounded it before the year 1492. So we are celebrating the depth of the Met's collection, and also it's an exciting time to look at the indigenous heritage of the whole Caribbean region, including the islands and the coastline. So I'll start going through. This is the latest in a series of special exhibitions at the Met, including 1973's Art Heritage of Puerto Rico, that brought the ancestral art of the Antilles to the audiences. That also includes Taino art of the Dominican Republic from the 1980s at the Met. So what we're talking about here is the Caribbean region. So here you see a map from the exhibition, and the dark blue titles here are the cultural regions that we'll be seeing today, including the Taino civilizations of the Greater Antilles, which, as you see here, are Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, which is Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, as well as some of the surrounding islands. And then we move into Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and all the way up into Guatemala and Belize. So to begin, I'll actually start on the northern coast of South America. Here we see installation shots from the exhibition, in which you see some wonderful gold pendants that are from Panama and Colombia. So thinking about some of the really amazing achievements of gold workers in the ancient Americas is a theme in the exhibition. And we see gold, of course, as a medium of exchange across the ancient Americas and in the Caribbean region. This is a pendant of a standing figure from the Tairona civilizations of the northern part of Colombia. This is the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta. And we see extraordinary detail in lost wax casting. These are models that are first made in wax and then encased in clay, which is then baked so that the wax leaves the mold so the gold can be poured in. And you can appreciate some of the really fine details here that were it's an extraordinary amount of skill to produce a pendant like this. And I'll show you, we also see this person is wearing a wonderful lip ornament with two volutes coming out of his lower lip, and we have on view in the exhibition a full-size version of that type of ornament. Now in Panama, we see a profusion of wonderful gold eagles like this trio here. And what's exciting about them is that they're not really trying to represent real species as we know them. They're really exciting and creative expressions of different types of avian features. And we see they are actually wearing collars. Some of them have bells for eyes. And we actually can see in this detail shot, some of them have these sort of cone-shaped eyes. There's a lot of creativity that goes into these. We also see that sound was a very important part of ceremony in the ancient Caribbean region. And this double-headed bird is actually, the body of the bird is a bell itself. Now, we don't have a lot of depictions of actual ceremonies, and this is a rare example from the 3rd to 4th century from Panama of people, and you see on this double-chambered vessel, people are carrying a burden. These are silhouetted individuals on 2 different registers, and they're carrying something. So we don't know the meaning of this scene, but it's suggestive of a ceremony from the 1st millennium. Now, other types of ceramics include this wonderful incense burner, where in the body of the chamber, we would see burning coal or other incense that the smoke would then rise up out of the top around this crocodilian creature. And what an exciting detail is that this sort of decoration of the ceramic mimics the smoke coming out of the mouth of the creature. We also see greenstone as an important medium of exchange around the Caribbean region, and especially in what is now Costa Rica. The artists were excellent at working jadeite, which is a very hard material. And you see this is a beautiful bird that has a beak here out of jadeite with an eye. The wings are folded in front, and actually there's an interesting detail that it's actually carrying a disembodied head in its talons. Now, disembodied heads and bodies that have been decapitated are a theme in jadeite works from Costa Rica. So you'll see this trio in Arte del Mar. Costa Rican sculptors were also excellent at sculpting in softer, porous, volcanic stone. This is a metate, and that is basically a grinding stone. So this surface up here would have been used to grind corn, a staple crop, and it may have also been used as a ceremonial seat where someone would sit on this sort of portable throne. We also see the sculptors in what is now Honduras in the Caribbean region using a local white limestone marble to create wonderful vessels that were probably used to drink chocolate. This example has handles, as you see here, with protruding heads of snarling bats, and their torsos also stick out. Now, the main narrative of the exhibition centers around the Taino civilizations, as I mentioned before, and here we have one of the most important and well-preserved works of Taino sculpture from about 1000 AD. This is a ceremonial stand, and you see this surface up here would be used for activating ritual substances, such as the hallucinogen caoba. And this is in the form of a zemi, and these are deities or ancestors that had specific identities and stories and would participate in ceremonies in Taino centers. He has a shell inlay for teeth, and the eyes, which probably would have had inlays, are missing their inlays. As you see in this detail, the artist actually emphasized that this particular zemi deity would have been crying as tears streamed down his face. On the reverse, you see that his spine and ribs are exposed, and this is probably a reference to the practice of fasting or other rituals in their religious life. And you can see that the wood is exceptionally preserved, suggesting that this was very well cared for and then deposited in a cave by its original caretakers. We have some spectacular loans in the exhibition. This is a zemi figure from the St. Louis Art Museum. And what is important here is notice that the tree itself was the inspiration for the form of this reclining figure with crossed legs. And this we know from some of the late 15th century accounts by Europeans. You can appreciate the curled toes and the woven bands on the legs here in this detail shot from the installation. We also have 2 exceptionally preserved wooden portable thrones. These are known as dujos, and they are actually mimicking the shape of a fiber hammock. Hammock is, in fact, a Taino word that we use very often in English. And we see that these also had zemi figures. There is a head and legs that support the ritual throne. This is an example from Puerto Rico on loan from the Smithsonian Natural History Museum that's made out of greenstone, again, emphasizing that material as a medium of exchange. We also see that people are wearing images of these deities or ancestors in the islands. We see things made out of bone and stone. This small pendant here has the salient features of some of these deity figures. The greenstone also circulated around the islands. These are 3 examples of very different types of stone that were sculpted into the form of ritual axes. by Taino sculptors. We also see exceptional works in ceramics in the islands. This is a promised gift to the Metropolitan Museum in honor of the 150th anniversary. And we see sort of Zemi deity iconic images around the neck of this phallic vessel that probably represents human reproductive fertility. We also have interesting stone collars or belts. These are examples of things that people would have worn in cloth or leather, but reproduced in stone. And some hypothesize this might have to do with a ball game played with a rubber ball that is popular in the ancient Americas as well as the islands. And just as an example of a ball court, here I am standing at the site of Tibes. This is in Puerto Rico, outside of Ponce. And we also have some spectacular loans from the Smithsonian of Puerto Rican three-pointed stones. These are trigonolitos, and they have imagery, as you see here. This is the imagery of a face of one of these Zemi figures. This is a more reptilian figure. So there's a wide diversity of stones and a wide diversity of images. Here we have a more elderly face. We have even birds represented in these three-pointed stones. So at the end of the exhibition, those are all of the ancestral themes that we touch on, but as you see at the very end of this installation shot, we have a painting by Cuban painter Wilfredo Lam. This is 1950s Rumor de la Tierra, Rumblings of the Earth. This is a special loan from the Guggenheim Museum. And the presence of this painting builds a bridge to the 20th century and 21st century with Caribbean artists looking back on ancestral heritage, not just indigenous, but also the Afro-Caribbean religions like Santeria and Voodoo that expanded through the Antilles and incorporated indigenous practices. So Wilfredo Lam is a pivotal figure in modernism for referencing these Afro-Cuban experiences from his homeland. Now, that's the brief tour, but like I said, we have a lot of online resources for you to take advantage of. On the left, you see this is the Met Bulletin for winter of 2020. This is available for free PDF download on the website. You can also purchase a hard copy. And we have the full exhibition overview, gallery walkthrough, and object labels in both English and Spanish so that you can enjoy them from the privacy of your own home. And to access all of these, I'll just point out the web site for the exhibition can be reached at metmuseum.org/Arte del Mar. And I will thank you very much for joining us today. And I hope you enjoy Arte del Mar from afar and then come and see us when the museum is back open. Thank you very much.